All right, we started this segment a while ago with our buddy Kyle Bittner, who helps out Scott Sherman at night. Kyle, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS.
Hello, McGraw.
Who'd you bring in the studio here?
I have Josh Schaefer because he told me he could eat a lot of pizza.
Josh, grab the microphone there for a second. Josh Schaefer, you are going to help out Kyle with the Pointers Challenge, right?
Yep.
All right. Are you a professional eater?
Oh, no.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure we're not cheating in the rules
There's
here.
no ringers.
Okay.
No.
Now, who is here from Pointers? David Hughes. David Hughes, you're the owner of Pointers?
Yes.
Now, what are the rules for this Pointosaurus Challenge?
You got 2 people get 1 hour. It's got to be either 2 meat toppings or 4 vegetable toppings, and they got to eat the whole thing. And if they do, they get $500.
Okay. And is this an official challenge here? If they do this successfully, will they?
Yeah.
They'll get the $500.
Sure.
Okay. How big is the pie?
It's 28 inches. It weighs 10 pounds.
How many people have successfully eaten the 10 pounds of pizza?
It's been done 33 times.
How many times has it been tried?
A few thousand.
33 people, 33 teams have done it.
Correct.
Is their name on a plaque at Pointers?
Okay. Yeah, we have a plaque up front.
Is the only Pointers the one on Big Ben there?
Yes.
That's the only one. And you've been around since 1991?
Yep.
Whose idea was this Pointosaurus Challenge?
I came up with it.
You came up with it. Now, has this been on Man vs. Food?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope.
So this is our own version of Man vs. Food. All right.
It's been on the Travel Channel. We're in the top 10 places to pick out.
Any females actually help
Yes.
in the team?
We've had a couple teams of girls. We've had a mother-son team do it.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So the rules are they have 1 hour. They're not allowed to leave the studio, or they what? What are the
Right.
rules? Okay.
They have to stay in the room.
They have to stay in the room. Can they drink anything?
Sure.
They can drink
All
whatever
they
they want. 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are going to eat. What about the crust? They got to eat the crust too?
They get the whole thing.
You got to eat it. All right. Well, because I know a lot of people like to eat the pizza, but not eat the crust. All right, Kyle. What's your strategy here?
I haven't done any sit-ups at the gym for a couple weeks now because I want to make sure that my abdomen wall
Okay.
can explode.
Expand.
Expand, yeah.
You don't want it to explode.
No.
That would be bad.
And
Yeah.
I ate a bunch of food a couple days ago, so we'll see what happens.
All right. And Josh, what's your strategy on this?
Just eat as fast as possible. And I mean, I didn't really eat much last night, so I'm starving.
All right. Now, you've tried this before, Kyle, right?
Yeah, about 4 years ago, I unsuccessfully attempted this challenge with a different partner. I kicked him out, and then I brought Josh in.
Because you ate your half.
No, not quite. I was about 4 pieces away. I was on the finish line, and then he was about 10 pieces away, I think. And he asked me to do his half, too, and I said, okay, I'm just going to.
Okay. So here's what we're doing. Since this is an official challenge, we're doing this on the radio, but because of the TV side of it, you can go to stltoday.com, and we're going to keep a camera on these guys the whole hour, so you can watch them eat it. I don't know why you would want to, but you can certainly do that. You can go to stltoday.com, and we will give you updates throughout the whole hour while they watch it. Is that acceptable?
Perfect.
Okay. And if they successfully eat the whole pizza, $500 goes to them.
Yep.
Now, normally, you pay $50 for the pizza. Is that right?
Correct.
So you pay $50. If you successfully eat it all, you get the $50 back, and you get $500.
Yeah.
So you get $550 back.
Yeah.
That's a good number.
Kind of like
The big 550
550.
challenge. This
Yes.
is the big 550 Pointers challenge. All right. By the way, what's the phone number if I want a Pointers pizza?
644-2000.
And where do you deliver?
All around the Richmond Heights, Clayton, Maplewood, Brentwood area.
Okay, there you go.
It smells delicious, by the way.
All right, and you brought a pizza for us to eat like normal human beings.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the official clock in the studio. You see that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You guys sit down. Do you want a chair or something?
No, I'm going to stand.
You're gonna stand.
Stand,
Okay. All right. Do you want a
elongate
bucket?
your-
Now, what happens if they throw up? They're out, right?
They're out.
They're out. Okay.
Do people actually throw up while they're doing this?
It happens.
Oh.
Oh boy. All right. Well, it's a good thing it's a good thing no one cleaned out the garbage cans. All right. You guys ready? Everybody ready? On your mark, ladies and gentlemen, the 550 Pointers Challenge. Watch it live at stltoday.com with big550ktrs.com. On your mark, get set, go. Ladies and gentlemen, the clock has begun. They're starting with the corners. Why do you cut it in squares and not triangles?
The triangles are just too cumbersome.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
And do people finish it like within 30 minutes, or is it always right up to the hour?
Usually the people that finish do it within 30 minutes. It's been done, in 20 minutes before.
Wow,
But,
world record.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut did it, who won the Nathan's
Yeah.
challenge the last few years.
But he did it by himself.
No, he did it with a partner, but he finished his half in 15 minutes.
Do they drink liquid? Did Joey Chestnut drink
Nah.
liquid?
He just eating with both hands.
The Pointers Challenge continues. The hour has begun. Stick around. It should be interesting. It's 9 o'clock, the Big 550 Pointers Challenge on the Big 550, KTRS St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick. You could almost see the steam rising from Capitol Hill. Outrage over the latest report on delayed treatments at VA hospitals, not just in Phoenix, but all over the country.
You solemnly swear.
At a hearing last night, members of Congress unloaded on senior VA officials, demanding answers.
The only thing that's clear right now is that there are 40 brave soldiers that served their country proudly that died while waiting on a list. What's unclear is how much further this goes.
But the calls for VA Secretary Shinseki to resign are louder than ever.
ABC News Chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl, average wait time for vets in Phoenix, 115 days. The murder spree in Isla Vista, California, now hearing from the gunman's family.
Elliot Rogers' parents are crippled with pain and grief, trying to come to terms with their son's actions, says close family friend and author Simon Astaire.
Their speech is now stuttered. They're unable to really articulate things in a full sentence.
He says Elliot Rogers seemed like the loneliest person in the world, but he could fool just about anyone into thinking he was okay. Alex Stone, ABC News, Santa Barbara, California.
Attention job seekers, evidence of more companies hiring. Fewest number of folks applying for benefits in 7 years. Economist Diane Swank.
The weekly unemployment claims were down this week, which was welcome news for an economy that really didn't look very good in the first quarter. We saw revisions to GDP in the first quarter, which showed that the economy contracted by a full percent.
Reason the long, brutal winter. Crash avoidance systems in cars save lives, according to the Insurance Institute. Wants all automakers to make those systems standard equipment in all vehicles. Philadelphia, around 40 people charged in an insurance fraud scheme that used dead deer to fake car accidents. A $5 million scam. You're listening to ABC News.
Attention homeowners. Quicken Loans has some important information regarding the U.S. government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Nearly 3 million homeowners have already taken advantage of this money-saving program. But there are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. If you are one of the millions yet to take advantage, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
The hottest deals of deer season are disappearing soon. Act now to get 0% financing on new John Deere compact tractors, utility tractors, and hay tools. Or choose big cash off. These offers won't last long. So hurry in today. Offer ends July 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plans. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Visit Sloan Implement at any of our 12 Illinois locations or find us online at sloans.com and myjohndeeredealer.com.
KTRS St. Louis. This is where St. Louis turns to first for live coverage of breaking news. The Big 550 KTRS, St. Louis's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
It is currently 75 degrees. The time is 9:03. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson. Traffic, weather, and sports is coming up. But first, here's what's happening. 4 burglary suspects and more than 10 pounds of marijuana are in police custody after a wild chase that started in Jennings and ended in a Metro East swamp. Police were called to a home in the 2400 block of Center Drive at about 5 o'clock yesterday after a family found 4 men burglarizing their home. The suspects fled in 2 cars. Police arrested 2 suspects a few blocks from the home, but chased the other 2 into Illinois. The suspects crashed along Interstate 5570 near Horseshoe Lake Park and jumped into a swampy area to try to swim away.
When they took him to custody, it appeared they were just tired and they just decided they've had enough. The 2 exited the water. They were just exhausted from the swim and gave up peacefully and were taken into custody without incident.
Police say the pair gave up after trying to swim through a culvert that was barricaded. Most residents in St. Charles and St. Peters are being asked to conserve water starting Monday while crews make repairs to a secondary supply line. The request affects only those who get their water from the city water systems in St. Charles and St. Peters. Missouri American Water customers aren't affected. Officials are asking water customers not to run lawn sprinklers, automatic irrigation systems, wash cars, and fill swimming pools for as many as 3 days. Officials say the conservation request was issued to maintain adequate water pressure and to avoid the need for a boil order. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. A public meeting is scheduled for tonight in Olivet to give the developers of a controversial project a chance to provide information to residents about their plans for a large sports complex located in Morrison Park. The proposal includes parkland to be leased by BWB Sports for a $25,150,000 square foot sports complex. Opponents say the development would eliminate valuable green space, but former PGA golfer Jay Williamson, who was with the BWB Sports, says the project will help make Olivet an attractive location for sporting events like youth tournaments.
There's a huge benefit for the city of Olivet because it actually changes the perception of Olivet. It becomes a drive-through destination instead of a drive-through city. People will be coming to Olivet from all over the metropolitan area to play in these facilities.
The meeting is scheduled for 6:30 tonight at the Olivet Community Center. Here's a look at the numbers on Wall Street. The Dow is up 23 points at 16,656. The Nasdaq up 15 points at 4240, and the S&P up just under 5 points at 1,914. This market update brought to you by High Z Advisory Group, a simple path toward financial security. Call 314-909-1116 or visit them on the web at highzadvisorygroup.com. In KTRS Sports, the Cardinals dropped the rubber game against the Yankees last night at Busch Stadium. 7-4 was the final. New York scored 4 times in the third inning and 3 more times in the fourth and was never threatened. Shelby Miller made the start and took the loss for the Cards. He is now 6-4 on the year. The Redbird loss, coupled with a Milwaukee win, dropped the Cards 2.5 games behind the Brewers for first place in the North Central. In the End Central. Tonight, the Birds open a 4-game series against the San Francisco Giants. Game time, 7:15. KTRS Time Saver Traffic. Here's Ed Smear in the Golden Oak Lending Traffic Center.
We've got an accident on 270 northbound. This is blocking the right shoulder just past 44. Also, we've got slow traffic on 64 southbound from Illinois 3 to the Missouri end of the Poplar Street Bridge. Looking at some other scattered roadwork projects out there, but not holding anybody up very much. Traffic brought to you by Subway. Avocado season is back at Subway. Try this superfood on a delicious steak, egg, and cheese or on any of your breakfast favorites. Subway, build your better breakfast. From the Golden Oak Lending Traffic Center, I'm Ed Smerin on the Big 550 KTRS.
KTRS weather. Here's Fox 2's Glenn Zimmerman.
Weather pattern on hold. Temperatures in the mid-80s again this afternoon. We'll watch for a couple of scattered showers and thunder showers. Pretty spotty across the bi-state. But as we've seen, these spotty showers do have some isolated heavy downpours, so watch for that this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy and 68. Same scenario for Friday, Saturday, probably Sunday too. Mid to upper 80s, warm and humid. Each afternoon has the risk of an isolated shower. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Glenn Zimmerman for the Big 550 KTRS.
75 degrees. The time is 9:08 from our Window World Studios. I'm Kelly Jackson, KTRS News.
McGraw Millhaven on KTRS.
All right, Kelly Jackson, the Pointers, the 550 Pointers Pizza Challenge continues here in studio. Kyle, let's get Kyle to try it, brought in a friend, Josh Schaefer. The two of them are 9 minutes into eating the pizza. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Struggling.
Yeah, struggling pretty hard right now.
You guys have had like what? Maybe 7 pieces?
No, maybe, what is that, a quarter? Have they had a quarter, I'd say?
Yeah, that's about a quarter.
That's about a quarter, yeah.
We're like diesel. It takes a while to warm up. We'll get going.
Yeah. You guys want to sit? Are you sure you don't want to sit down?
No, I'm good.
All right. And you're drinking coffee or water or something? Water, okay.
I don't know if you should drink any liquid.
There's an argument. There's an argument broke out. An argument broke out in the Hallowed Halls.
What?
That they should have gone with the vegetables and not the beef. Now the question is, whether you choose the beef or the vegetables, the pizza has to weigh 10 pounds, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you weigh the pizza.
Right.
Okay. All right. Good. And also on the break, you were mentioning something about the box. How much does the box cost?
The box alone costs about $1.50.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just in cardboard alone. That has to be specially made box, right?
Right. We get it straight from the mill.
Okay. All right. So the 550 Pointer's Pizza Challenge continues with Kyle and Josh.
And I don't hear any burping or anything, because I think that would help a little
You're
bit.
on the wrong end.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so you can watch the challenge. We're going to continue on with the show, and we're going to have a camera on these guys the whole time. So you can watch them try and eat the pie at stltoday.com or at KTRS.com, part of our HD series. I think this is why they invented television and HD, so you could see them eating Pointer's Pizza
Absolutely.
in HD. We're going to take a quick break. They're 10 minutes in. Quick break. When we come back, a woman has written a book about Lance Armstrong. She sat down and interviewed him. Juliet Macker from the New York Times, she sat down and talked with Lance Armstrong. We will talk with her. We'll do that next here on the Big 550 KTRS. Kelly Jackson, there's a rumor going around.
What?
That St. Louis Closet Company came out to your house and that they designed a doggy closet for you?
Oh, my goodness. I am so excited. So Angela, who is a fabulous designer, came out last Friday, and, she was looking at all my dog clothes that I have hanging for LaRue, and she's like, wow, what cute clothes. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cute if you could do like a little section for her? And guess what?
They did.
They have designed a doggy section for LaRue. Now, the ladies that are listening, they can understand this because, I like dressing up my dog every once in a while with little T-shirts and stuff. So to have her own little spot in my closet.
That way, when you're getting ready in the morning, you don't accidentally wear one of her shirts. You don't
Heaven forbid I get it mixed up.
Yeah, you don't want her wearing your shirts and she's wearing your exactly.
I think it's adorable. This could be a first too.
Okay, so St. Louis Closet Company will go to the ends of the earth to customize the closets, including making a doggy closet for you.
Absolutely.
Ask about the Kelly Jackson Doggy Closet special going on right now at St. Louis Closet Company. They also have a spring special going on, 18% off all custom closets for humans and for dogs. Free estimates, 314-781-9000. Don't forget about the Murphy beds, too. St. Louis Closet Company, St. Louis owned, St. Louis operated, designed and manufactured and installed by St. Louisans and custom. You can't get a custom doggy closet anywhere else in the country except St. Louis Closet Company. 314-781-9000. 100% custom, 100% St. Louis. Do not be fooled. St. Louis Closet Co. or stlouisclosetco.com.
Metro Shooting Supplies reminds you the NRA is on the front lines, fighting for your Second Amendment rights. Your help is needed more than ever. Join the NRA or renew your membership during the month of May at Metro Shooting Supplies and get 1 hour of free range time at Metro. It's important to stand up and be counted. Let your voice be heard. Visit Metro Shooting Supplies, join or renew your NRA membership, and get 1 hour of free range time. Get involved today. Metro Shooting Supplies in Belleville and Bridgeton and on Facebook.
You just never know. But I would say it's tough to do in the morning.
Has made a commitment of service to their customers and is proud to be locally owned and operated. Metro Lighting offers a 1-year in-home product warranty on all lighting fixtures, lamps, and ceiling fans. So if something stops working, they'll repair it or replace it. Plus, Metro Lighting guarantees their prices against any competitor, including big box stores and the internet. Get the best selection on the highest quality lighting at the best price guaranteed at Metro Lighting. Visit MetroLightingCenters.com for the location nearest you.
McGraw in the Morning continues on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back to Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis. There is a brand new book out called Circle of Lives, The Fall of Lance Armstrong. Juliet Macker joins us from the New York Times. Juliet, welcome to Big 550 KTRS.
No. Hi, thanks for having me.
You wrote the book, and you had, let's start from the beginning. You covered Lance Armstrong before his fall, right? You were one of those covering his all of his tours, right? So you knew him before all of this, right?
Yeah, I actually didn't cover any of his tour victories. I came in right after the fact and started writing about his doping. So I didn't see any of the rise of Lance Armstrong. I more or less saw just the fall.
Okay. So, but you were allowed special access to him. I mean, this book is you and him sitting down, going one-on-one.
Exactly. Yeah, we really got to know each other well over the years, just because I had followed him so long with all of his doping. Then I followed him during his comeback in 2009 and 2010. So we sort of had a kind of an contentious relationship. And finally, after he became clean to Oprah, I
The thin
approached him and
Elvis
said
or
I
the
wanted to
big
talk to
Elvis?
him,
And
and
the
we
thin-
went back
okay.
and forth a bunch of times, and finally he invited me to his
So the
house.
winners, you
It
keep
actually
track of
was on his moving
what
day when he
actual
was moving
toppings
from
each of
his
the
$10
winners
million
do, and just
estate
whether it's meat.
to a smaller mansion, but he
mostly
needed
soft
to move because of all of his legal
But I think that's
problems.
the most
Okay, so you get a sense,
I just saw this
Juliet,
last
that
time, and I still haven't eaten pizza since then.
he, I mean, it was contentious with him, was it not, during these conversations?
I don't want to see the crime scene.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, basically, early on, I had learned that some of his teammates had confided in me, saying that there was doping on the U.S. Postal Service team, but they weren't ready to come clean about it because they were still in the sport, and the sport was their only way of making a living. So I spent many years trying, like everybody else, actually, who covered cycling, many years trying to figure out whether Lance Armstrong had doped or not, or to prove whether he had doped. And so Lance and I wouldn't say that we were best friends for most of our time together.
Yeah. But he did agree to sit down with you and tell his side of the story.
Yeah, I think he wanted to sit down with me. Well, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure he wanted to sit down with me because, one, he wanted to see what kind of book I was writing, and two, he wanted to have a hand in how the book was written. And, his whole story from the beginning was basically telling his own narrative or creating his own narrative, even from when he was just a kid, when his mom said that she was a single mom. They always had their backs up against the wall. They didn't have much money, so Lance felt compelled to compete in triathlons and get money for his mom. But the fact is, she was only a single mom for 1 year out of Lance's life till he was 21. She was married to for the most part, a man who made a really good living and gave Lance whatever he wanted, all the goods he wanted, all the bikes and drum sets and sneakers he wanted. So their story was a little bit of a fairy tale from the beginning.
When you sat down with him, Juliet McCurr, the book is called Circle of Lies, The Fall of Lance Armstrong. He wanted you to change the name of the book.
Yeah, it's actually called Cycle of Lies.
Cycle of Lies,
So maybe Lance Armstrong actually got to you and had you change it. But he's really good at that, so I don't blame you for it. But yeah, it's called Cycle of Lies, which is really funny because initially he sat down with me and said, I don't want to influence how you write this book or anything. I just want you to get my side of the story and the truth, as he called it. But he said, you have to change the title, which is funny because he said he didn't want to change the book at all or influence the book, but he didn't like the title, so let's start there. But that's Lance Armstrong. He thinks he could change and influence anybody, and of course, as we know now, he did so for many, many years.
Yeah, the story is unbelievable, and we know that he came out to Oprah, and he actually garnered some support in public opinion for being so honest and being so forthright and being somewhat apologetic. From reading your book, Cycle of Lies, you didn't get that same Lance Armstrong.
No, I think that most of the people who saw Lance Armstrong on Oprah thought it was a disaster. And of course, the fact is he didn't cry as much as people wanted him to. He didn't get on his knees and beg for forgiveness. And really, that's Lance Armstrong. He really wasn't, that really wasn't the right venue for him to go on Oprah to tell everybody, to tell the world that he had been lying to them for so long, because he just is really stubborn and he just can't call on the emotion as a normal person would do when their life is on the line. Basically, his livelihood was on the line, and there he was on Oprah, and he couldn't shed a tear, and that was a problem for many people.
How bad off is he now?
Well, I wouldn't say he's that bad off. I mean, a couple of years ago he was worth $100 million, so now I'm guessing he's probably worth at least $70 million. And this is just a guess. I'm not an economics reporter or anything, but. So I wouldn't say he's really bad off when it comes to finances, but he is facing a federal whistleblower case in Washington, D.C., which, if he loses that case, he could owe more than $135 million, which is more than Lance Armstrong is worth. So if he loses that case, he's in big trouble. If he doesn't lose it, he's still just the most hated athlete in history for the time being until another one steps up. But he's still a rich man.
But it's shocking to me that he is now talking, right, with these lawsuits, with all these other things. Normally, athletes and politicians who find themselves in the crosshairs don't talk only through lawyers. But he sat down with you one-on-one, and I guess, how forthcoming was he?
I think he was pretty forthcoming. I think that Lance Armstrong has sort of had enough of other people spinning his story. Like, he wanted to do it himself this time, seeing as the other way didn't really work out for him in the end, because when the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency report came out saying that he was the kingpin of this huge doping scheme on the U.S. Postal Service team, he really had a lot of bad press from that. So he thought that he could change the trajectory of his story. Already he really had nothing to lose, and he thought that he could manipulate my book a little bit or try to get the truth out there. Well, what his version is of the truth.
Yeah. They say, well, how did he keep the lie so airtight for years? And what shocks people the most is he didn't just keep it, he defended it and yelled at anybody so bad that they were afraid to ask him because he was so steadfast in his lie.
Yeah, he had a lot of power in the sport of cycling, but also really in American culture altogether. I mean, he was an icon, not only because he won the Tour de France 7 times, but because of what he meant to cancer and cancer awareness. I mean, he was not behind the idea of the yellow rubber wristband, but his name was sort of on it with Live Strong, and he had a cult following for a long time, and so anybody who would go up against Lance Armstrong was not only going up against Lance, but they were going up against everybody who loved Lance Armstrong because of what he did for cancer. And he knew that, and he knew that he had all those people up against the wall and that he could crush them immediately if they came out against him.
The book is called Cycle of Lies, The Fall of Lance Armstrong. Juliet McClure is our guest of the New York Times. Is he remorseful? Is he sorry for what he did?
It's interesting that he said that, because throughout our many hours of interview, I tried to figure out if he was remorseful or ask questions that would get him, elicit a little bit of emotion from him and feeling, getting to know how sorry he was. But I didn't get any of that. He was not buying any of my questions, and he just is still as steely and as stubborn as ever. And I'm not sure if he is actually remorseful, but during our interviews, I didn't see any of that, which is, of course, part of Lance Armstrong's downfall.
Yeah. You don't become a world-class athlete and you don't win the Tour, even doped up on steroids, without having a steely inside and without doing it your own way and not having the willpower beyond anyone's imagination. So does he at least admit to himself that he cheated?
No. No, he's not going to admit to himself. He doesn't believe that he cheated. And no matter how low he might get in terms of the popularity here in the U.S. and around the world, I don't think he will ever admit that he cheated, because he thinks that everybody else in the race was doping and that there was a level playing field. And so believe me, I asked him until I was red in the face, like, how could he have not cheated if he was breaking the rules? And he said everybody would have cheated at that point, and everybody did cheat. So if everybody was using drugs, then it was a level playing field, so he wasn't cheating.
Let me ask you this.
So that's the problem.
Let me ask you this crazy question. Was he cheating better than everybody else, or was everybody cheating equally? In other words, were his doping drugs better than other doping drugs?
Well, I'm not sure if his drugs were better. I mean, he did have an interesting cornucopia of drugs for many years that maybe other riders didn't have, but he had the operation down pat. He had the doctors, he had the scientists, he had the trainers, he had his other teammates who were making a lot of money using the same drugs. And of course, he had the U.S. Postal Service name behind him and the cancer survivors around the world behind him. So he had everything going for him. And as I tried to explain in the book, the drugs didn't necessarily affect everybody the same. Like, I could take EPO and you might be able to take EPO, but I might be more of a receptor to this blood boosting drug that gave me more endurance. So it would help me more. So in terms of that, people have said that Lance Armstrong was his body was hugely receptive to these drugs, and that way he had an advantage also.
So just the fact that his body makeup being what it was, he was a great athlete, a pretty good cyclist, and then spurred on by this great reaction to this illegal drug, propelled him to the 7 victories.
Exactly. And this great operation of people who were really clandestine with the giving of the drugs and the delivering of the drugs during the tour. and the other teammates who stayed quiet about it, which was pretty amazing, as we know now. I mean, he really had this. I mean, it was almost like a criminal drug operation, which a lot of people have told me it was exactly like that, which was everything worked like clockwork, and all the people he had hired for him were the best in the business. So not only did he have the drugs in the body that was receptive to the drugs, but he had this great operation around him that allowed him to succeed when he probably would have won just maybe 1 or 2 tours without it.
The book is called Cycle of Lies, The Fall of Lance Armstrong. What's his life now? Does he have any friends? Is he bitter? Is he angry? Or is he the same old Lance Armstrong?
Well, I think Lance Armstrong is, unfortunately for him, has always been bitter and angry at somebody. I don't think he'd be Lance Armstrong if he wasn't upset about something that somebody did. So I think he's certainly bitter and certainly angry that other people had used the same drugs and were part of the U.S. Postal Service team and aren't known as one of the worst and most hated athletes in history. I mean, he had teammates too, and they're not as hated as Lance Armstrong. So one, I think he's really upset about that. And two, I'm not sure how many real friends he has, which is really sad. I mean, some of the people who were around him during his doping days, they fled for the hills. They didn't want anything to do with him, especially when all these lawsuits were coming up. And so, he X'd their name out of his address book and didn't want to talk to them either because he's that stubborn. I think he has a few pretty close friends, but I would say his circle of friends has gotten really, really small.
This also shows, Juliet, how dirty the tour really is, and can you ever really have a tour that is clean and free of drugs? I mean, what does this say about the tour going forward?
Well, I'm not sure if you could ever say that any sport is 100% clean, especially when there's a lot of money involved and that drugs have been such a part of the culture for so many years. I mean, I think a lot of people in America don't realize that cycling has been filled with drugs for 100 years, since the way beginning of the Tour de France, when riders decided, like, wow, this is really difficult. I don't think I can ride this many days without, whether it's drinking alcohol or having some strychnine, which is basically rat poison, something to deaden the pain or something to get them through these really grueling days, like morphine and things like that. And riders have died at the tour and gotten sick and dropped out and all these things from drugs of the past. So in order to rid cycling of that culture, I think it's going to take more than just the Lance Armstrong debacle to move forward. And I think that there will always be people doping in cycling. It's just too hard, just too difficult on the body to get through it without it.
Juliet McGraw is our guest. The book is called Cycle of Lies, The Fall of Lance Armstrong. Did anybody get to him? Did a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a mother, a sister, a son, a daughter, an ex-wife, did anybody get through to him? And did he open up to anybody? He was like, yeah, you're the one in my most inner circle, and he confided in them. Does he have anybody on that inner circle?
Do you mean when in terms of just how badly he feels about this whole thing?
Yeah. I mean, has he opened up to anybody? Is anybody out there defending him? I guess.
Ooh, that's a tough one. He does have a girlfriend who's the mother of his 2 youngest children, so she's right there all the time. So she's defending him. He still has a couple lawyers who have been his lawyers for a long time who are defending him, but the number of people who are out in the press saying Lance Armstrong didn't dope, or Lance Armstrong's a good guy, or even Lance Armstrong shouldn't be known as a pariah, I think that there's I can't think of anybody right now. I think people are afraid of all the lawsuits, and really Lance Armstrong is somebody they don't want to be hanging out with right now because of just the number of lawsuits, and nobody likes Lance Armstrong right now. So those people don't want to be associated with them, which is too bad.
In the history of sports, I don't think we've ever seen anybody so high, so big, so large, and then fall so far so fast. I mean, this is unprecedented what we're watching.
It is unprecedented. I mean, and in the book I mentioned, I actually got a hold of 26 hours of tape from one of his early father figures, who had cancer at the same time as Lance. His name is JT Neal. And JT Neal pretty much foresaw all of this stuff, which is pretty interesting when I was listening to these tapes that JT had left behind basically on his deathbed, explaining how Lance Armstrong was enamored with just the whole celebrity lifestyle. after he had gotten cancer and then come back from cancer, and how everybody thought he was a hero when Lance Armstrong, one, didn't win the Tour de France yet, and two, Lance Armstrong was never really a nice person. So everybody thought he was a hero way before that he even won anything. But the saddest part of this story with the JT Neal story is that JT Neal wanted Lance Armstrong to be by his side during a bone marrow transplant in Arkansas, and expected Lance to be there at the airport to take him to this really harrowing medical procedure. And Lance said, "Yes, of course I'll be there. You're my best friend. You're my father figure. Of course I'll be there." And Lance called at the last minute to say, I can't show up because I have backstage passes to the Wallflowers. So this is when the guy who was probably closest to Lance Armstrong, JT Neal, decided that Lance Armstrong was on a downward spiral, and that was way back in early 2000s. So
wow.
Some people knew that this would happen.
The book is called Cycle of Lies, even though Lance Armstrong tried to change the name. The Fall of Lance Armstrong. Juliet Macur, M-A-C-U-R of the New York Times. Fascinating look, fascinating book. Thank you for spending a couple minutes with us, and good luck down the road.
Great. Thank you so much.
Back in a moment. Big 550 KTRS.
Join the barbecue revolution every Sunday between 4 and 5 p.m. on the Big 550 KTRS, broadcasting live from St. Louis Home Fires, talking tips, techniques, and all things barbecue.
Hi, I'm Rick.
And I'm Dave.
We're best friends, but we do things differently.
Like, I took my last date to the movies.
And I took mine dumpster diving.
And when we need cash, we do things differently too.
Last time, I got a payday advance, but it wasn't enough, so I got a car title loan. Now I'm taking the bus.
But I called Cash Call. They lent me $2,600, and I qualified for up to $25,000 with no collateral.
$25,000 bucks, woohoo! Trip to Tijuana.
No, Rick. I just borrowed what I needed, and I'm paying it back responsibly in fixed monthly payments. Soon I'll be ready to pay back the rest, then I'll be debt-free.
And soon I'll pay off my payday advance from 2005.
That's a real Rick move, buddy.
Get the cash you need in less than a day. Make the cash call at 855-590-CASH. And don't be a Rick.
Subject to credit approval. Additional documentation required. Loans will be made pursuant to Missouri Consumer Credit Loan License 367-03042.
Make the cash call at 855-590-CASH. That's 855-590-CASH.
931, Big 550 KTRS. All right, our 550 Pointers Pizza Challenge continues. We are 32 minutes, 40 seconds in. Kyle, how are we doing?
Somewhere between terrible and awful.
Oh, my God.
Josh, how are you doing over there?
Struggling.
You guys, it looks like you're more than halfway. Dave, would you agree with that? They're more than halfway?
Yes.
They're more than halfway. I'd say they're 66% done.
That's not comforting.
That's
right
about right.
Yeah,
that's not
about
comfortable.
Right. So you only have really 1/3 left to go. Yeah.
Okay.
For those of us just joining us, Pointers Pizza on Big Bend has a Pointosaurus, 28 inches, 10 pounds of pizza. Kyle, let's get Kyle to try it, decided to take on the challenge. The bandwidth at Westport is down to nothing because every single person in Westport is watching you guys on the Big 550 KTRS, also at stltoday.com. We will continue. You have 26 minutes left. So you got plenty of time. We did empty the trash cans, and for those who cannot see it, but the trash cans are right below the pizza box, just in case. We will continue in a moment on the Big 550 KTRS. Now, I have to do this commercial, and please forgive me while I do this commercial, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, if you have to go to the bathroom, you want to go to the bathroom in a proper bathroom. You don't want it. Well, first of all, if Kyle is in your bathroom, surely in the next hour or so, you probably need Right Bath to rebuild you a new one. So call Right Bath, and they will fix anything that Kyle will do wrong to your bathroom. Half bath, full bath, anything in between for a 21st century bathroom that can handle the likes of Kyle. Ladies and gentlemen, Right Bath. They will not cover up anything because once Kyle uses your bathroom, it needs to be sanitized and taken all out and rebuilt. Right Bath won't cover up anything. You know, there's some of those companies that'll cover up all that soap scum and mold and mildew. You can't cover it up. You have to get rid of it. Right Bath will tear the bathroom all the way down to the studs and build it back up in 5 days. Wood vanities, Kohler tubs, toilets, sinks, accessories. Right Bath will do it right from the beginning. When you call Right Bath, tell them you heard about it here on the Big 550 KTRS. They'll give you a free sink and a free faucet. Not a bad deal. 314-909-1820 or Right Bath or rightbath.com.
9:34 here at the Big 550 KTRS. We're going to check the traffic with Ed Smarin at the Golden Oak Learning Traffic Center. Ed?
Pretty good shape overall. Northbound 55 after the Poplar Street Bridge. We have the right lane closed with road work till 3. Slow traffic from Park Avenue. We've also got 255 southbound from 270 to Horseshoe Lake Road with the 2 right lanes closed. This goes until June 21st. Not seeing any other major holdups anywhere now, though. Traffic brought to you by Subway. Avocado season is back at Subway. Add this rich, creamy superfood to any salad or sub, like the Subway Club with avocado. All avocado season long. Subway, eat fresh. From the Golden Oak Lending Traffic Center, I'm Ed Smarin on the Big 550 KTRS.
We are definitely in a weather pattern that brings in scattered rain chances each day for the next few. Today, already some spot showers trying to stir up and maybe a couple of thunderstorms into the afternoon. High today back into the mid-80s. It is warm and humid. Tonight, partly cloudy and 68 for the low. Same scenario tomorrow. Back into the 80s. In fact, 80s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Each day has that slight risk of an isolated afternoon thundershower. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Glenn Zimmerman for the Big 550 KTRS.
Dynagreen sponsors weather. Right now it's 77 degrees with mostly cloudy skies here at the Big 550 KTRS.
The weather is brought to you by Dynagreen, the choice fertilizer in St. Louis.
Each and every weekday morning at 6:50, Scott Crothers from Stifel Nicholas gives us insights into the financial markets and investing. To get your own personal financial review, call him at 314-292-6201 and tune in weekday mornings at 6:50 on the Big 550 KTRS.
The Big Sports Show with John Hadley will be broadcasting live from 360 Rooftop Bar high atop the Hilton at the Ballpark Thursday, May 29th from 6:30